Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the official Bay Street Barons podcast. As always, I am your host, Farhan Saeed.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Nuwair and
We're back for yet another market update, market recap. There's a bunch of stuff that's gone on, so I think we have a lot of stuff to kind of dive into, right?
Yeah, we
Oh
got
yeah.
like 2 weeks worth of stuff that we gotta cover.
So yeah, where do we even start? Oh, okay, I guess Alex has already started us off here.
So if Nuwair could kindly pull up my screen share, I will show exactly.
Yeah, it's up.
Is the screen up? It's up. All right.
So this is the Dow Jones. This was last week. A little bit of a dip on the Friday, and then Monday was just like a mini recession, and then the next day right back up. And you can see it
Yeah.
like if I pull up like for example the bank stocks, you could see it reflected in the bank stocks. Like if I put the 1 month, like look at it, same dip, all
Yep.
of them,
Canadian banks, American banks.
same dip. Here, let's get some Canadian banks.
Pull up like TD, big sale on the over there.
There it is, July
Yep.
19th dip. It was the worst trading day of 2021. I have it written down here. The Dow was down 700 points. Big fire sale. The shortest little mini, almost some could call it a mini recession that lasted 1 day, and then the next day
Yeah.
it was right back up. So I know I personally bought the dip on many things. I don't know about you guys. Any dip buys?
Yeah,
TD.
I
Yeah,
was looking at a
anywhere?
couple, but I was a bit hesitant on buying too much. I'm like, okay, maybe this goes on for a week. But nope, markets they go down 1 day and they're right back up the next. So
So what's making you call this exactly? I mean, obviously, I mean a pullback in the Dow that much would be considered a recession, but why not just call this some healthy pullback? What is this? What's making you call this a recession?
I'm not calling it a recession. I'm just saying, like, some of the people were saying, like, I would assume a jokingly way, like, look, it's
Oh,
a
okay.
mini recession because look
Yeah.
at like the sharpness of the dip and then the
Hmm.
immediate recovery.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm not exactly for certain what caused this whole thing. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of fear in the markets right now with the whole Delta variant going around. The what are they calling it in the States? The pandemic of the unvaccinated. Um,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of concerns that you could have like another wave of shutdowns because like today the CDC director came out and said, I just have it on my phone. The Delta variant is, quote, one of the most infectious respiratory diseases known. So that's just causing a lot of fear on top of all the inflation fear. So it's like a lot of fear going on.
A lot of turbulence in the market. It's not a good time for investors everywhere. But
do you think people who said like the market's gonna come down due to inflation and whatnot are gonna like say that like even if it goes down due to COVID that oh I predicted this or like what do you think? Because I know a couple people were saying that just watch if the market goes down because of the Delta variant, everybody who was talking about inflation and stuff they're gonna be like I predicted that. So like what are your thoughts on that?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, people do that for anything. Like, like something will happen in the market and they had a prediction completely unrelated, but they'd be like, no, that was all me. Um, but I mean, the two kind of go hand in hand, wouldn't you say?
I kind of disagree. I think if there is a Delta variant pullback, it will look a lot different than the inflation pullback that a lot of people have been predicting. Because when you see something with like even with COVID back in March, it was just straight down and then right back up, albeit in a little bit of a slower time period. But something like an inflation event like that would be a lot more. It would take a lot more time to come back up, and I think it would be a lot less violent in nature, where it just comes and gets slammed immediately with like COVID did. You know what I mean?
What's causing the inflation anyways in the first
Just
place?
the spend, like I forget the exact statistics, so don't pin me to it.
Like
But
a fifth of the US
no,
dollar.
it was a different thing. I saw it today. This COVID recession was 5 times as worse than the last, or it was as worse as the last five recessions in a fifth of the time it lasted.
Mm.
Something, it was something like that. And then there was also the amount that the government spent, like their deficit was five times as greater than the last one, or it was as greater than the last five recessions. It was something like that. But like that amount of spending in that short period of time has got a lot of people very, very, very worried.
So then who's to say that the scare of this Delta variant, as you're calling it, or not you're calling it, but the CDC is calling it most dangerous respiratory disease, who's to say this isn't going to cause another, uh, crazy pullback or, recession just like the initial COVID in March did?
I don't think at this point, um, with the level of vaccinated people, that you will see a pullback like March 20, because March 2020, everyone was blindsided, no one saw it coming. Meanwhile, now, we've been here for what, 1.5 years now, and we're all used to it.
Mhm.
Almost like, you've got vaccine rates. I don't know what the exact numbers are up to date, but you're talking like over 50% of adult populations in these major countries are now fully vaccinated, and those numbers just keep going up every day. They're starting to incentivize people to get vaccinated, which is a good thing. um and like the return to normal should be the biggest incentive, but like you just need to carry up some of the hesitant people, and I don't think that it's going to be as big of a dip. But if there's an inflationary dip, then that will be a bit of a bigger issue.
Kind of a good point you made that we're kind of all like people are used to COVID almost now. It's kind of just like, oh yeah, put your mask on. It's just sort of the norm at this point. It's not so much a scare anymore. It's
Yeah,
just like this. It's
everyone's used to that, the desperate jog once you walk halfway to the store, and then it's like, oh crap, I gotta run back to my car, I forgot my mask.
yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, if there is a dip, that means that there's gonna be a sale, and I mean, you
we're
got to make
we're
the
we're,
most
we're
out of the
part of
worst times, you know.
I think are you hearing this guy? Like we're talking about like the safety of people and diseases. This guy said there's a sale.
I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying like that's a good thing. I'm just saying that if there is something like that, there's always like I don't think first off, I don't think that will happen because I mean, right now we're like talking about the Delta variant so much, but the markets are still going up like on a weekly basis. So I think people are like not as scared and like they're prepared of if something like that was to happen again. Like we have the safety precautions in place and like we've been through that. So like for example, when it happened with schools got like shut down fully. Like there wasn't no online learning for like a certain amount of time. But like right now everything's been online. Work, a lot of people are working online. There's like all that stuff that was happening in March has already happened. I like it would be stupid if people all of a sudden went crazy because oh there's another variant. One's like yeah, but we've been through that. We have more vaccines. So if there even if there is a dip, I don't think it will be nearly as bad as the March one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, exactly what we were saying. But regardless, might have to look for some put plays or something.
I mean, you got to
I know
make
I
the
missed out
best.
back in March. Yeah, you got to make the best out of these situations. I mean, it's horrible to say, but I mean, that's how you make money.
Yeah, like don't
How
be
about
like
puts,
sad for
man?
yourself, but like
Or
don't
what?
be like yeah, it's going to be a bad thing, but like instead of just sitting there being like man, it is what it is. Like just make the most out of the opportunity that there is cuz I know a lot of people in March did that. A lot of people made a lot of money during that time. But yeah, I mean if the opportunity is there, might as well take it.
Yeah, like what were you saying? People have made like crazy puts on like what casinos
Yeah, I
and made a lot of
know
cash out of that.
there's this guy, I don't remember his name, but like he recorded his entire thing and it was bought puts on casinos before they closed down in like Vegas and stuff. Like COVID was a thing. Like I think NBA games they were talking about it. Certain stuff had closed down, but casinos were still open. He's like, okay, casinos are definitely gonna close down. Might as well buy puts and made
Mm,
lots of money on that.
smart.
Yeah, but that was like at the very early stages where everything was uncertain, so it could have gone either way. Now, if you buy puts, I would be very, very, very cautious to buy any puts in a market like this, just because like if you buy puts, and let's say there's a little delta variant dip next day, uh, Jerome Powell can come out with another stimulus check, and then there goes your whole position gets wiped out like a in an instant.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
know.
that's true. And I mean, what about all the people who missed out on the puts they could have made in March and are, trying to make up for it now? You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is our second chance. Let's take it. Everybody, like everyone's thinking the same thing that we're thinking. We're not coming across no genius idea right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's always a risk with like
Everyone's.
anything. There's no such thing as a guaranteed return.
Mhm.
Right. I would say buying puts and stuff like that. That gets more into the trading side and less of the
You're
investing.
depending on
Yeah,
what's gonna happen in the news, essentially.
yeah. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I'd buy the dip on my core positions, but I wouldn't do anything derivative wise.
yeah. Speaking of buying the dips, what dips did you buy during this mini recession? I think you said some banks, yeah?
I I took a opportunity. Well, earnings was last week, and I know the pattern of most of these banks. They report great earnings and then they get smashed in the same day.
Hmm.
So like they report earnings in the morning and then you just watch the stock graph. So I bought a couple of dips there, um, and then it just kept dipping, and I lived the meme of when you buy the dip, but it keeps dipping. So I just like buy, 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 buy. And on
Yeah.
Monday too. On Monday it was just like fire sale. Everything was just fire sale. It's like, oh, hello.
Yeah, a lot of banks were down.
I think Monday
Um,
was the same day where Nvidia had their stock split, and I got a notification that they're down 70% or something. I'm like, oh my god, this is actually like the biggest sale I've ever seen. Open because it was from Yahoo Finance. The notification, I open it. I'm like stock split. I'm like, oh my god, like stop clickbaiting me like that. It's just
You got baited.
wow. Yeah, it's about time though that they had their split.
And
yeah.
it's a perfect time to mention now that if like I know like if I pull up Nvidia really quickly, it was a $800 stock and now it's $200 and it's like, ooh, it's so cheap, but you gotta remember you're buying a smaller piece of the pie. It looks like it's on sale, but it really isn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people don't realize that, eh?
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
a big
actually down
misconception.
70%. It's like it's not
Yeah.
It,
down 70%. It just
like the
split.
way you could always tell if something has been demolished or if it's a split is you just look at the market cap. Like if the market cap takes a big dip, then yeah, something's not right. But if the market cap stays the same, that basically means the pizza is still the same size. It didn't shrink, but there's just more slices in the pizza now for people to buy.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the perfect little like analogy you could give for it.
I mean,
Exactly.
some other dips. I don't. Well, not. I know there was a dip on Intel. I think Intel recently reported earnings. They took a little bit of a hit. I mean, they've been getting. They've had a rocky year, I would say. They've not had the best of times recently. Yeah, we have it. Those
Oh, I didn't
watching on
see this.
YouTube.
That's big.
That's
I mean,
quite the cliff.
yeah, but like, look at the price difference. It wasn't anything like insane.
55
Okay,
to oh, yeah.
56 to 53, so $3 a share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I mean, for Intel, that's quite a bit. I mean, let's look at the. Can you pull up the 1 year chart? I think it's been moving around like. Okay, never mind. It's had quite a
That
few
was nice
movements.
68.
But yeah, not the best year for Intel so far.
On the other hand, though, another company that had earnings this week and is doing really well, Snapchat.
Absolute monster.
Oh, yeah, let's pull this up. Snapchat. Look at
Look
that.
at that.
You love to see that.
And you love to see that if you own the stock. If you don't
Oh,
own the stock, then you're like,
yeah.
man, let me go back 1 week and buy that stock.
63 to 78.
That's mad. That is madness. They absolutely smashed earnings. I don't even know what the numbers were, but I just know. They smashed it.
Can you imagine it? That's the best feeling in the world, when your company's reporting earnings and you wake up in the morning, it's like, you open your Christmas present of checking your stock thing and you see it up 20% in pre-market. It's like, yes.
And I know.
Yep.
Or you hold bank stocks and you just it's the complete opposite for you.
And you look it up, it's like, yay, they reported earnings and it's down 3% today. Let's go. I get to buy the dip.
Now, I will say, as much as I love earnings, I don't think I've ever held a stock which has absolutely destroyed earnings like that. Like, I've never woken up to one of my stocks being up like 20% after earnings.
Let's
Yeah,
see
it's
what
rare. I mean,
happened with.
like everybody uses the same, kind of wait and see, we'll see what happens type of approach with earnings.
Yeah. Like, you actually
It's a
never
really
really know what's going to happen.
Look at the RSI, and that gap up was up as high as like 93.
oh man.
That's some strength,
Yeah, they're a solid company.
bro. The options that like if you bought options yesterday, oh my lord.
Phew.
If you bought puts, however,
Yeah.
oof.
Ouch.
I don't see
I don't want to.
why anyone in their right mind will buy puts at this time in Snapchat.
I think,
Not a good idea.
I think, like, I don't know, I'm not sure on this, so don't quote me on this, but I think last time or maybe 2 quarters ago when they reported earnings, they didn't do that well and they went down a bit. But like again, like you actually never really know on what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I know they've like beaten earnings, but I think it might have been the time where they just met the expectations. But or that might have been Twitter. I know for a
Yeah, there
fact
it
that
is. They Q2 of 2020 they met expectations.
yeah, so it might have been that where like you just actually never know what's gonna happen and how investors are gonna react.
hmm
Another one that
There's
didn't do so well with their earnings
Netflix.
was Netflix. If I pull up the 5 day,
Ouch.
Yikes. That's the complete opposite
530,
of a snap, eh? Just the chart
yeah,
flipped.
Yeah.
534 to 508.
Hmm,
Oof.
Oof.
not good at
I don't
all.
like if I might be mistaken, but I don't even think their actual like revenues were that bad. I think it was like the expectations of new users added was really, really off
Yeah,
in
I think something like that.
A lot of competition these days too, eh? Disney Plus
right.
and Amazon are really up there. They're moving along pretty
Yeah, and
quickly.
like a lot of people, I remember when Disney Plus first started and Amazon first started, were skeptical, like, oh, they can't do their own shows, and like some of the originals on these like Prime and Disney Plus are phenomenal. Like
Yeah,
WandaVision had something like 23 Emmy nominations.
The entire
yeah,
Marvel
some of them go
side on
crazy.
Disney Plus has just been insane.
Yeah,
Like,
those shows are great.
yeah. And I'm gonna
hmm
say this, like I'm not hating on Netflix or anything, but I mean, they're falling a bit behind to their competitors. I mean, well, we have HBO now, like we said, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. There's Hulu. There
And
is
There's
and
there's Paramount Plus.
there's so
also
much.
what you have to consider is Amazon has been um, shopping. They bought MGM. MGM has a lot of premium titles that it can come with. James Bond. Like
Yep.
things that they're gonna now be Prime stuff. So it's like Netflix was the premiere for exclusivity, and then now it's like Amazon is just like, well, we don't have to come up with our own stuff, so we'll just go buy it.
They have like vendors, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? They have vendors is what they have. Netflix, I'm gonna keep it honest with you. Netflix does not update their movies enough. Like there is nothing ever new on there. I swear, it's always the same garbage. Um,
Yeah, I mean, because there's a lot more.
they need to up their
And then
stuff.
like
Sorry, you were
What was
saying,
I don't
that?
know where you
Alex?
cut out. Like I was just gonna quickly say also, like they're about the same cost, all three of the major three streaming services, Netflix, Disney, Amazon. But you also have to consider, so not only do you get with Amazon their own TV, whatever TV they've bought and have on with the Prime membership, but you also get the shipping, the Prime 2 day shipping and the
Yeah,
the TV. It's one thing. Like that's a big
yeah.
plus for consumers.
Yeah, like it's more bang for your buck, you know?
Yeah.
You know what's kind of
And yeah,
sad
no,
though?
that's
Streaming isn't as cheap as it used to be. Like online streaming, like I know everybody switched from like cable to online streaming. It's like okay, everybody just get Netflix or whatever, maybe two subscriptions, and that's enough. But now there's just so many that like people you need to have at least. I would say most people have at least three subscriptions at the very least to, and then it
Mhm.
ends up being just as much as cable or close, getting close to that price. So that's another, and I mean Netflix prices are rising as well, if I'm not mistaken.
oh yeah, I remember the days when it was $7 a month. Now what is it? Like 14, 15?
Yeah, something like that. I think that's another thing that consumers are looking into.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, well, where am I actually getting? Because you don't have the convenience of everything just being on one cable, let's say. So you're getting you have like three subscriptions or whatever to manage. So that's also people are like, okay, where can I cut one? Or what's the least important to me? I think for a lot of people
Yeah.
right now, that is Netflix. That's sad to say because Netflix has been like the leader for such a long time. But it's not that much new stuff. There's a lack of variety. People would say it's like we've had Netflix for so long that watch almost everything, and it's like okay, maybe it's time to switch over to Amazon Prime or Disney Plus or Hulu or HBO fully.
I think Netflix's strong suit is their originals because they've over the years they've put together, these production houses that come up with really good original shows, original documentaries that have done, some numbers. But then Amazon, on the other hand, they cater more things. Like Alex said, obviously you get the delivery thing or the shipping thing, but you also on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, there's sports streaming, is there not?
I'm not for certain if
But
there
there's
is
like a
sports.
vendor at least
There's
that
gotta be one of the channels that you can buy in
yeah,
Prime that has like live sports. Like I know you can get
right?
live TV. Like I have live TV. I've seen it there before. Where you can watch live TV through Prime.
Yeah, so I mean, just imagine if Netflix catered sports. How
Right.
big of like just how much that would completely make them completely different from the rest.
So
I don't know why they
so
haven't done that already, to be honest.
so you got Amazon's got that, and you got all the other stuff with Amazon too, the shipping and stuff, and then Disney brings into the game all the like the name recognition, like the name like big like blue chip characters and TV shows and
Blue
movies.
chip characters. Yeah.
It's the only way to describe it. Like
Yeah.
think about how hard it would be for Netflix to pitch like a new kids show versus Disney just came out with a Monsters Inc. show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's like Monsters Inc. is like so embedded in kids. Like, they recognize it. They know Mike, they know Sully, they know all the characters. You know what I mean? And now they got the show, so it's just right there. It's easy. Same with like the Mandalorian. Like same thing with that. Star Wars. Baby Yoda was like a
Yep.
phenomenon. Like
I
everyone
mean
was all Baby Yoda.
most of their marketing for Disney Plus, it's been done. Like people, like for example with Marvel, like how much? Maybe this is just me. I didn't see that much about WandaVision or Loki or even Winter Soldier. It was just like, oh, Marvel's coming out with a new show. Where is it? Disney Plus. Okay, no, that's where we're going.
That's all
Whereas,
they need.
yeah, that's
That's
all.
all
That's
they
all they
need.
really need. It's just
Yeah.
there's
Because
that name.
the
Their
thing with
fan base is like that.
right, like the thing with the Marvel is like you almost need to watch everything that gets produced that's Marvel because they all like it's like a chapter in a book, everything
Yeah.
connects. So like if you missed like this Loki show, you know what I mean? Then you're not going to understand when they come out with, a movie 2 years from now, they're going to reference it and it's like, "Wait, that doesn't make sense. Oh, you missed this." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Disney Plus launched in COVID, right? In quarantine?
I
I
think
think so.
slightly before.
Because I read something that a lot of Disney Plus's like new subscribers and revenue was from this just like people staying at home wanting to rewatch a lot of the old classics and the throwbacks. You know how on cable back in the day, the throwbacks and the old classics would play like,
Yeah,
late, like
yeah.
past 10 p.m. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. You just buy Disney Plus. You can watch, Phineas and Ferb, SpongeBob, whatever it is you want to watch, right?
I
Like
love
everything.
Yeah,
I love just a quick like aside, complete tangent. How when you think of the classics, you think of Phineas and Ferb, but
I
when I'm
know.
thinking of the classics, I'm thinking of like the Bugs Bunny cartoons from the '60s and
I
like Tom
know.
and Jerry.
Why don't they have Tom and Jerry on Disney Plus? Do they? I don't think they
I
do.
don't think Tom and Jerry is Disney, is it? It's not Disney.
Like, what would it be?
Cartoon
I
Network. But is that like through
Maybe.
Disney or whatever?
Yeah, that actually is kind of funny though. That's what I think of as classics.
Yeah. But I
Speaking of classics,
Warner
you
Brothers.
know they did a they Warner Brothers. You know they revamped iCarly for like a new thing, and it's on Paramount Plus, which is another streaming service people don't really know about too much.
That's not this. You see, like that's
But
not
yeah,
big enough of a draw to bring people into Paramount. Like that's like one cult show that like kids our age have seen.
that's what you think. Look up the numbers.
I
It's
mean, but
actually
it's
not that
One show,
bad.
but I mean like they're gonna watch the show and then it's done. Versus Disney,
Yeah.
Mandalorian, Marvel, the Monsters Inc., like Pixar. They've just got like this massive stack of just script.
I would say
Yeah.
like even if it is just one show, that's one show that Netflix doesn't have. Because at the end of the day, I'm thinking as Netflix as like the market leader, like the one that's everybody's trying to beat in the sense and take over. And it's like okay, well that's one opportunity that Netflix lost in that sense that they don't they're not catering that. Whereas if they had that, they would probably get more users or at least more engagement with users for that one show.
If Disney gets access or like the rights to more just like movies, like the type of movies that Netflix has, just more like critically acclaimed films, more like adult films, right? Because they have them, but not as many, right? It's more focused on like the Pixar, Marvel movies. I
Yeah,
think if Disney Plus gets more of those on there, they're gonna leave Netflix in the
They
dust. Because then
do.
what does Netflix have?
They do because
But
they
it's not
do.
as
They
much
have
as Netflix.
no
Like
no 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 no. If
it's
you go like on Disney, I think it's like some add-on. I think it's called like Star Plus in Canada. They have like because they bought Fox, right? They bought 20th Century Fox. So they have all the 20th Century Fox movies on there that are not
what
like
really?
kiddie rated. Yeah, yeah.
but it's
Oh, like
additional
I know they
though.
have
Like you have to pay
No,
additional.
no, no, no,
No,
no, no.
really.
Because Disney owns it. Why would they make you pay more for something that they own?
Oh, my bad. I take that back then. I did not even know that.
Yeah,
That's
Disney's
crazy.
way ahead of you.
Oh, they might just leave Netflix in the dust then soon.
and I
I don't know.
remember
Netflix needs to catch up.
yeah, and I remember early on people were saying that like when Disney first came out, like it was like hype for like a month or two, and then after that people were like yeah it's whatever the hype's died down. Uh, but like I don't think it ever did. People the hype has continued to increase. There's more people who want Disney Plus for these specific shows, and again, what Marvel has a cult like following. Like you go to like the premiere of any Marvel show, people will show up
Oh
in
yeah,
cosplay and whatnot.
in costumes. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
and I'll say with
Yeah,
like
Netflix. Yeah, sorry.
right, like Netflix doesn't have like Marvel. It is literally almost like you like if you've seen all the movies and you know you enjoy the Marvel stuff and you like it, like you need to see what happens. You know what I mean? Like you need to read the next chapter in the story, or else you're not going to get the next Avengers movie. You know what I mean? Like Netflix doesn't have a property currently where the consumer physically needs to see it to get something that they're going to understand like 2 years from now.
yeah.
And I know we were talking about Netflix like original shows. I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I don't think their originals are that well. Like they've kind of fallen off recently. I mean,
Oh,
I
there hasn't been any recently that have been that great. Like the last one I can think of is like You, which was pretty good.
I
yeah,
I loved House of Cards. That was a big one
Was
last
that an
season.
original though? I don't think that
Yeah,
was a
that
Netflix
was
original.
original.
Oh,
And
it
then
was?
another one that they got like that I think they're making another season for right now. Ozark is really good.
yeah.
Ozark is amazing.
Are they
Yeah,
bringing
Yeah.
that back? I heard it got canceled.
there's if they cancel it, that would be like such a mistake.
Yeah, cause I really like that show as well, but I heard it like it's getting canceled or maybe like one more season or something. I'm not sure, but I
Yeah, so they're coming out with a fourth season, and it will be the final season.
okay. I'll be I'm excited to see that because that show is really good.
Yeah.
Um, I think the one
What
that
were you saying about Netflix and gaming or something?
yeah they're coming out with they're trying to go into gaming, which is again we're talking about sports, but I mean they think that gaming is the way to go. And I think they're focusing on mobile gaming more. Like I don't know how it's gonna work, but that's what they're looking into.
I
I
don't know
don't
who
know,
pitched that
man.
idea, like in
Uh,
like the little office space, like whoever said that, like get him out of there. Like just get
like
sports on there, man. Come on.
like 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 there's so many like what ifs that come along with like Netflix streaming gaming. Like the first one that comes to mind, like I know they're starting with mobile and like if you're doing it on your phone that works, but like if they expand it to TV, how are you gonna be playing video games with your TV remote?
Yeah, like with your remote.
Do you know what I
My
think
remote
would
doesn't work
be?
half the time. The power button doesn't even work sometimes. Like how am I supposed to just play a game?
You know what I think if they offered or they showed like streaming, like game streaming, like esports or whatever, I think that would have an audience. But then I think that's like taking away from Twitch. I think Twitch has
Yeah, why not just
most of
use
the
Twitch?
rights
Why
of
would you go
that.
on Netflix to use
Yeah.
it?
And
Like Twitch.
and it all circles back because guess who owns Twitch?
Yeah, so like
Amazon, for those that don't
it's
know, owns Twitch as well.
so to be honest, in this thing, I think Amazon is winning, or is at least in the little a little ahead of the race.
Yeah,
I
Amazon
think.
and Disney certainly stepped up to the plate.
Hmm.
I mean, and then also it comes like other than streaming services, what does Netflix really offer? Like if speaking like buying, like you want to buy a stock, Netflix is like, all right, Netflix, Disney has more to offer. Amazon as well, Amazon. So there's also
Right.
like
Like
all
does
of that to
Netflix?
take. Does Netflix have
Yeah,
any
like
other
what's like
things?
does Netflix give a dividend? Like what
Nope.
do they? There's no dividend. Like come
Relying on
on.
their growth and the growth. Well, can we look at the 1 year chart? Let's look at the 1 year chart if we can. I
It's
mean,
pretty
it's.
steady. Pretty. It's like it's just kind of it's nothing going on really.
Can we go look at the Disney one?
Um, this is Amazon's one
Well, we
year.
already know Amazon's if you put up the one. That's the 1 year for Amazon.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, but even then, there's more growth there than in
and
Netflix.
like
Yeah,
Disney's got the parks, which are just like money printers.
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
Like look at that, and like that's what Netflix is competing with, at least stock wise. So
Hmm.
Yeah, and like so like Disney, they got the movies too. Like we talked about the Marvel fan base. We didn't even start with the Star Wars fan base, which is like if here's the Marvel people, it's like the Star Wars people are just like up here, my arms beyond my monitor now, so it's not even
Yeah,
in frame. It's like, oh man, like
and even like just like Disney, what was it called? Disney XD shows or whatever. Like all those shows, like my brother and my younger siblings, we love those shows. They'll just go on and they'll start binge watching like a full season of like these old shows
yeah,
coming from that used to be on cable that are now available on Disney Plus. Again, and then again, Netflix doesn't have that. There's no like you go on Netflix when you want to watch something new. You go on Disney Plus for both if you want to watch something new and also if you want some nostalgia. You'll go back like, oh, I remember this show when I was like 12, and you'll just go through that.
but then there's also like with Netflix. Netflix has shown historically they they are the first to I'm trying to think of the wording. Like they're the first ones into the pool. You know what I mean? Like if you think about it, do you any of you guys remember in like there was one in my local grocery store, like this big red machine, and you'd put in
yep,
your credit card and you get a DVD, and then you would like either put it back in the machine or mail it back. Like that was Netflix, and like
yeah. That
look what
was
they are now. So they clearly have like their innovation team or whatever is clearly like on the ball because they pivoted and it like Blockbuster ended because they didn't pivot. So historically Netflix has shown the ability to adapt to future trends and stuff. So I don't think Netflix is going anywhere as they have the ability to come back clearly because like can you imagine if they stuck to their guns and like no we're going to stick with DVDs and envelopes, we're not going to be doing this internet nonsense, like they wouldn't be here.
I really
Absolutely
hope
not.
they do come back because I mean I like Netflix. Plus Netflix also like
yeah.
the that one platform that it's like like when you're bored or whatever. I mean this is just me, but I'll just be like okay let's go scroll through Netflix see if there's anything that I want to watch, I mean, because that's just like what I'm used to. So I really hope that Netflix does
These days,
find
it's
something.
been Prime for me to be if I'm being honest. It's been more of a scroll through Prime sort of thing. Because Netflix is just it's the same stuff. I swear.
I mean, maybe their
Prime's
video
trying to have a really
game,
good collection.
maybe Netflix gaming adventure pays out for them. And we're gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah. What if they just make a console and it's just a big brick with like an N on it for Netflix?
That would
That
be
would not be
something. That would be something.
that, that would be something.
I mean, that was quite a while we spent talking about Netflix, and I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today.
It's a big industry though. The
Yeah.
film industry and the entertainment industry is massive, projected to be some of the biggest growing industries as we go forward. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed our little spiel on the three streaming services. We want to know what your guys' favorite is in the comments, so let us know about that. And yeah, Amazon Prime gang, that's me. Any closing words? Anything else you got to say?
I think we left everything on the table
Yeah.
I
today.
think we left everything. All right, well, thank you guys again for tuning in to the Bay Street Barons podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.